kills it. Demaryius Thomas, Delaney Walker, Isaiah Crowell. I don't even know how he does. He screwed C.J. Anderson is one of his backs. That hurts in this league because C.J. Anderson just went down for like a bruise, something that's going to keep him out for a couple weeks, I think.
Ooh, so that Booker, the guy out of Florida State, the rookie, it's going to be a good pickup if he's out there.
Okay. Wow, I'm surprised he can put up that many points right
Look
now.
Look at that score, though, 153.5 to 59.
I know. What happened to this other team? 59. All right, here's what happened. And, man, you would think, okay, started a tight end on a bye. You got to keep up with your league. Let's just say that.
Yep.
Nobody is, that's on you right there. But at the same time, this poor person does, in their defense, well, I guess this is this week. What are we? That was week 7 we were in, right?
Yeah, you want to go back and look at week 7. So yeah,
I'm looking at this week. Okay.
Yeah, he had Jesse James.
I was like, look at all these on the buys. I was like, this poor person actually. How about this? All right, so you said they scored 59 points, right?
Yeah. See, what happened is he had Matt Jones at running back, who only gave him 2 points. Then he had Mohamed Sanu at wide receiver that only gave him 2, and then at tight end he had Jesse James that only gave him 2.
That's tough. Look, also you got Jacksonville, Alex Hearns, who nobody on Jacksonville is doing anything.
Rough luck this week. I tell you though, if you look at his roster, I would have thought he would have won that. You compare those two rosters.
How about this? Listen to this though. You thought he had rough luck last week. This week he's gonna have. This person.
I don't even have a.
Oh man! So you kissed your spiritual sister.
Kiss my spiritual sister. That's right.
Your ghost sister. All right. Well, why are you feeling dirty? And I assume it has to do with fantasy football.
Well, it does. You know the old saying: when you tie, it's like kissing your sister. So
that's right. That's right. All right. So Mel Mayock busted out a tie. This is the second tie in the C3 fantasy football history that I know of.
Wow.
Sharona was involved in the first tie. And that may have been last year, I think.
I think
it could have been last year. Sharona's been with us from the beginning. All right, so for those who are just joining in, most of y'all listening are players in this league, and you know that there's 48 football teams in the C3 Fantasy Football Challenge. The league is broken into 4 divisions of 12. Each division sends 3 teams to a super playoff starting, I think it's week 12. And then those mugs play for lots of money, $300 and a Vernon Butler jersey. Each week there's lots of prizes given out. And this week we gave away a prize. Mel, what did I promise? I promised a shirt or a bracelet. Now, this would be a female-oriented prize, you would think. Now, I'm no judging if you want it. On top of that, you could give it away. So tell us, I think you caught the winner. And this may be a second-time winner, weekly winner.
Yeah.
Out of the whole thing.
And dude's in first place in the Muhammad League, too, in the Eastern Division. First place. So, I mean, he's having a great year. He's got his money's worth already.
What is the team?
It was the After Dinner Mentor.
Yes, Mike after dinner mentor, maybe
right.
Something like that. And then and his name is Evan Cottle. And on top of that, Evan, I sent you a prize via mad props to the professor today, folks.
Playing Norm.
Also, you know what? The professor, aka the postman,
not Norm,
got it out today. Yeah, I got the prizes out today. So
So the flood waters finally receded over there by the house. You were able to get to the post office?
There you go. You know, actually, to be honest about that, yes, the waters have been gone for a while, but I had to go today to the post office, and it took me taking 2 detours to get there because of a road that got blown out right beside the post office. I mean, it is probably a quarter of a mile away from the post office. And, you know, I live out in the countryside, so you got to be coming that direction. So it requires a big circuitous route.
Easy
but
for
they are out. The prizes have been shipped 4 to 6 weeks. You got it.
Woo-hoo.
Mel, what went down in all right, so why did Evan get a prize this week?
Well,
Tell the people what he did.
Well, this past week, it was the Air It Out, I believe was the name of it. But it's the one with the most yards by your quarterback and most receiving yards by your receivers. And, I mean, he blew it out. He had Phillip Rivers at quarterback with 371 yards. Ended up with a total of 727 yards between the wide receivers and his quarterback, which that's a pretty big number right there.
So he got so out of just his wide receivers, you're talking about he had like maybe 320 yards of production. Maybe 340, right? Because he had 375 passing, and then that leaves a whole nother 340 for two guys.
Well, no. See, the wise thing is in your champ there at 4-3, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams at 4-3.
How is that even possible? They're just like beating up. You know what? They're just beating up on No, you didn't. 1-6. Sorry. That hurts. It feels like being a Panther fan. That's like a double whammy.
Mm-hmm.
I Worley have the Funchies. Yeah, here's the problem there. You're 2-5 because you used Worley and Funchies in your team name, and both of those guys are doing squat.
I hope you didn't draft Funches. Yeah.
Okay, so parody for Game of Jones. That's the story of this league. 4-3 after winning one game last season. What a turnaround. If you were going to compare that to a team in the NFL currently, who is that? A team that turned it around. The Falcons. That's what I would say.
Or the Bucks.
Oh, that's like the biggest insult. No, I can't.
We can't hang that on her. So the Cowboys. The Cowboys.
Yes. All right, I'll give you that. Or the Lions.
Because they drafted 4th last year.
The Lions are also like that too.
Yeah. They still suck though.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm not impressed with them. But look at this league though, man. I mean, the Chattahoochee Coochies has 800.
Good luck with that name.
I know. They got 858 points. Wow, on the league. And then here's my number. Khalil Me Maybe has 847. And then second place in trailing. Here's my number.
Where do you see the points at? That's what I need to see.
Down there where it's got the divisions broken down, right? You're looking at the standing side by side, and then down you got the East, and you got each one ranked. That first column, the first column is PF is points 4.
Okay. All right. There it is. I see it.
Which that comes into play. That comes into play in rankings, into the playoffs. So, but look at that. Second place has 883. Second place in the East, Hogmolly Heroes has more points than, here's my number, Khalil Me Maybe, who's in first place.
Also has more points than the entire league. All 12 teams.
Yeah.
If you look at that, all 12 teams and 4-3.
Oh my goodness! Look at Mr. Peanut Punch, 871 points, and they're like not doing well. 3-4.
3-4. Wow.
They scored way more.
That's what happens when you run up on some mugs, and that's what the commish Ken Dye has been talking about.
But look at that. He is like way down there at 3-4, and here's my number, Khalil Me Maybe.
But here's the cool thing about this league, Mel, is like when we say way down there at 3-4, they're really
one game back, two games back, right?
And everybody else is one game back. So that league is entirely up for grabs. Like the person that's going to win the C3 Mills League, Mel, is going to be the person that digs in right about now, 8 weeks, 8 through 12. Yeah. And or 8 the next 3 weeks, should we say, they will be That's where you got to get it because you're going to have to pull ahead.
And
Somebody's going to have to reel off 2 in a row.
And it's going to take somebody who's got a little bit of depth on their bench because we're in the heart of the bye season. And, like last week, having Ezekiel Elliott on a bye hurt a lot of people, right? So if you're out there working the waiver wire and you're able to pick up a Giovanni Bernard or a Booker from Denver or somebody like that, that can really –
That's an excellent point.
Yeah. So that's
trying to think of somewhere else you could go to find a little hidden value. I think you got to try to find. I think Jacquizz Rodgers. I'm sure he's gotten gobbled up.
Well, what I did this week on the waiver wire is you see D'Angelo Williams out there who's questionable. I'm stashing him, taking a chance that maybe towards the end of the year he's coming back and Bell is wearing out. And if he is your starting running back in the playoffs, whoo.
Right. You got to find somewhere where you got a player where the production doesn't drop off too much, right? And there's a potential for you to get an opportunity. You got to go somewhere. How about this? Go ahead and pick up a Patriots running back.
Yeah.
Whoever it is, pick up the third one on the depth chart because by the time we get 4 weeks down the road, their whole running back crew will be changed out.
True.
You got to play the long game. And how do you play the long game in a league like this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a tough question.
There's not many people out there on that. I'm looking at their waiver wire. There's not. It's slim pickings out there. Booker's gone. Yeah, Booker's gone.
People and look, this is with a short bench in the C3 leagues.
Yeah.
We trimmed the bench a whole player.
We did.
So there's got to be some. Here's the thing: you better. All right, if there's not a lot of people on the waiver wire, you got Gano you didn't, who's 1-6. You've got Wager Minute, who's 2-5. You've got I Worley have the Funchies 2-5. Those are teams trying to turn it around.
Yep.
If you could give them something of value so where they can at least, those people ain't going to want to quit. Either they're going to quit, which I don't think they will, or they're going to try to muscle up some wins there. Maybe you can help them muscle some wins and strengthen your team for the long term.
Now, I tell you what, Ben, I'm looking at Gano You Didn't, first-year player Missy Russell. Man, she has a good roster. I mean, she's got Antonio Brown, C.J. Anderson, Andrew Luck, Jimmy Graham, Anquan Bolden, Tevin Coleman, Cardinals D. I mean, that's not a bad roster. She's had some rough luck.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. Actually, that is. That may be the question of the week. Melissa Russell, how was she 1-6? You have Antonio Brown. If you have Antonio Brown, you think you could win one game, more than one game. Him alone. Now she's got Amari Cooper. She hit on Jimmy Graham. Right. Jimmy Graham was a steal there for tight end. She's gotten production there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's been
and she put up 116, but she put up it's kind of the buzzsaw factor. You run into a buzzsaw sometimes. 116 points is going to win a lot of weeks. And she didn't.
Luck. Luck has not been extraordinary.
No, he's been a caveman.
He sucks.
Hate that guy. I hate that guy.
I'm so happy that he's not. I'm not happy he's struggling, but I'm happy he's not king of the world.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay, so let's jump on who we've done. Mills, we've done Muhammad, right?
Yep. So let's go
to Rucker.
Yep.
All right. So standings for the Rucker League. Got leading the East, the chosen one at 5-1, and leading the West. Yep, that's you. That's right. Wow. And you know what? You had a tie, and you've downright kind of crushed everybody.
But look at that.
You had a great season. You should be 6-1.
Go look at that score of this week's game. It's worth you looking at. Pretty brutal.
All right, let's see what it is. This was week 17, right?
Or week 7. Yeah.
Yeah, week 17.
I'm with you, man. It's a long day. I hear you.
I'm doing great. I went out to dinner tonight with my wife. My kids went to choir, so we went out to dinner, and you know what? We had a wonderful dinner.
Where'd you go?
Appetizer. We
You
went
go
to Longhorn,
Okay, nice. I haven't been one of those in a while. That's good. Good stuff.
and we just went to a place that we usually don't take the kids because like the kids don't need a ribeye.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went to a place that we don't usually take the kids. We haven't been in a long time, and we didn't have to rush. Or you know what I'm saying? Like it was quiet and peaceful.
So for all of you guys out there that don't really know Tony, that was his way of saying, my kids ain't getting a steak. I ain't paying for it. I'm a miser.
That is totally true. They ain't getting no steak. They ain't getting no steak. Share mine.
Y'all want some chicken fingers and macaroni and cheese.
That's right. The other thing is, how about this? Michael doesn't like steak. He says it's too chewy. Too chewy because he has to grind his food into mush, I guess. And if you give that kid a steak, we'll be here till Sunday.
Wow.
Waiting for him to chew that mess. He'll be just chomping like chewing gum. He can turn the juiciest, beautiful steak into chewing gum. It's strange.
Oh.
All right.
But check it out.
Happened?
Thursday night, man. So Cam Newton was on a bye. Ezekiel Elliott was on a bye. So I was halfway fully expecting to lose this week. So okay. I come in and I say I have to pick up a quarterback because I wasn't carrying one on the bench because we have such a short bench. And I go and I pick up somebody who's had three 300-yard weeks in a row with multiple touchdowns, Brian Hoyer. Hey, great pickup. Dude goes out and breaks his arm.
He had to play one of the best defenses in the league, right?
Yeah. Green Bay, yeah. But still, I mean, I figure he's going to get me 15 to 20 points at least, He goes out and breaks his arm.
What if he got you? Would you have taken – so you expected him to get 15 or 20 points. Yep. Would you have – here, yes or no answers. Would you have taken 12 points from Brian Hoyer?
Oh, yes.
All right. Would you have taken 6 points from Brian Hoyer?
No. I mean, I would have loved
Why not?
I would love to have had it, but I mean, if I'd have known that's what he was going to get me, I would have gone with
Today, would you take 2 points from Brian Hoyer?
I'd take 1.5 points, and I would have won my game.
Oh my goodness! If he could have just completed one more pass before breaking his arm.
Exactly. And then going into the final game, all I had to have was 13 points between Jimmy Graham and DeAndre Hopkins. And that's exactly what I got between them and ended up tied.
Oh, my goodness. All right. You know what this is really about. Brian Hoyer didn't lose you this game.